Hey everyone, welcome back to Wounds to Wisdom. Today we are looking at fasting and what Jesus meant when he said not to be like the hypocrites when you fast. This is from Matthew 6:16 to 18. If you're like me, you don't find fasting particularly enjoyable. I can find fasting very challenging. I feel sick, I get nauseous, I get headaches, I feel very weak and tired, and I don't particularly enjoy it. I know some people who love fasting. They feel like they are in the second heaven when they fast. I don't. To me, it's a big sacrifice. But this is what we're looking at today. Sometimes you can fast, and especially if you're doing a long fast, the second day you feel like you're about to die. Third day you can feel like, oh, I've got energy now, I'm kind of recovering, I've broken through that barrier. But sometimes when you're in that real hard fasting time, you can wonder, it's like, is this actually achieving anything? Am I just starving myself for no reason? Is God listening? So we're going to break this down today, how to fast in a way that you are not fasting like a hypocrite and just wasting your time. Let's read our scripture, Matthew 6:16 to 18. Moreover, when you fast, do not be like the hypocrites with a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces that they may appear to men to be fasting. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward. But when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that it will not be obvious to others that you are fasting, but to your Father who is in the secret place. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. So, when Jesus spoke of not looking somber or sad like the hypocrites, why? Because God isn't impressed by performance, and this has been a recurring theme all the way through the other studies we did on the Sermon on the Mount. He repeatedly says not to be like the hypocrites, not to perform for the attention of man, whether that's giving, praying, and now fasting. He says not to do that. Remember, Jesus is speaking to a Jewish audience who have been raised under the old covenant of the law, and he is teaching them the difference between having a real relationship with God as a father and performance-based religion. So he's looking at true intimacy with God, how to get true intimacy. And he's exposing the hypocrisy of the religious elites. They have been presenting to everybody this false, warped portrayal of what it means to be godly in a way. So people look at the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and they're looking at all this hypocritical performance and thinking, oh, that's what it is to be right with God. Oh, that's what it is to be a man of God. And Jesus is saying, no, it's not. So he's exposing it all and calling it out. So today we're going to be delving into what forced fasting is, what real fasting is, and how fasting in secret brings those rewards from God, because what people don't see, God always sees. So first, we're going to look at a little bit into the Greek, see what insights we can gain there. So it says when or whenever you fast. Jesus never said if you fast. So he considers it a given that Christians are going to fast. So it's when you fast. Okay, and this is present, subjunctive, active. So it's more like whenever you are fasting. It's a present, ongoing thing. And the subjunctive means in those times at some point when you come to it. So that's why it's whenever you are fasting. Do not be somber. The Greek word means sullen, looking sad or mournful. And it's like you're really portraying that you feel the struggle of this. You're feeling the strain of this fast. And then we have like or in the same manner as. So do not be somber, sullen, looking like you're bearing the strain, in the same manner as the hypocrites, which we said before is an actor or a performer. So these religious elites that Jesus is calling out were acting and performing this sad, mournful behavior. They're bearing the strain and the struggle of fasting for the nation and for Jerusalem because they want to be noticed by men. And he goes on to say, for or because they disfigure their faces. And this word has different meanings depending on the context. It can mean to destroy, consume, and it can mean to deprive of luster or render unsightly. So that's the one that applies here. It's to not wash your face, like they wouldn't wash their face. They didn't tidy their beards. They didn't oil their skin, and that deprived it of luster and rendered it all unsightly. And faces as well is more accurately countenance, not just their face, but their whole appearance. The Pharisees fasted religiously, usually Mondays and Thursdays, and often they wore sackcloth and they would put ashes on their heads, and then they would let their faces all go unkempt. And because he knows the heart, he exposes their motives. It's to be seen by men. This is why you're wearing sackcloth and ashes. It's not a secret. You go around, everybody knows you're fasting. Oh, they're wearing sackcloth and ashes today. Oh, they must be fasting. Their beard is all unkempt. Their faces are not oiled. They're washed. They're just mourning and going around like they've got no energy. And people think, oh, they're so spiritual. They're fasting for us. They're so righteous. But it's all being done as an act and as a performance to be seen by men. And so this is why he says, then truly I say to you, they have received their reward in full. What was their reward? It was the acclaim of man. It was the approval of man. So whatever we do for the approval and the respect of man, as soon as someone notices it, well, that's what you wanted. So you've got it. So God doesn't need to reward you anymore. It's finished. And you can't complain at God for that, because that was your motive. But then he says, but when you fast, and you is personal possessive. So it's more accurately translated your rather than you. So fast is a present participle active. So this is more like fasting, not fast. So what it really means is, but for your fasting, not but you fast. It's but you're fasting. Now anoint or oil your head, wash and clean your face or your countenance. And this is normal everyday hygiene. So he's not saying to do anything special. He's saying go about your day as normal. Look normal when you fast, so that your fasting will not be obvious to others, to men, but it will be obvious to your Father, the unseen, the concealed. So we spoke that before. Your Father who discerns the concealed will reward or give back to you. So you see this repeated theme, because we've come up with this before. Your Father, the concealed one, discerns what's concealed, and he rewards openly. As we said, the same thing, forgiving, praying, and now fasting. Same principle applies. So what is forced fasting? I'm sure you figured out already. It's not what you are doing, it's who you're doing it for. That's what is your motive. That's what determines whether it's forced fasting or not. Does something bother you so much, and it grieves your heart so much, that you are pleading with God to intervene in that situation privately between you and God? Or do you need guidance on something, a course of action that is so big, or you need favor with an authority figure like Esther did on Daniel, that you are going to fast and pray to your Father about it? Think, like I said, Esther, Daniel fasting before he spoke to Nebuchadnezzar, Nehemiah requesting leave. He went to the king and requested leave to go and build the walls of Jerusalem. They fasted in secret. God rewarded them openly. Nehemiah even kept all of his plans secret when he went there. Until he fully understood what he needed to do, he told nobody what was in his heart. So this whole passage follows the same theme of exposing spiritual pride, religious performance, and it points people back to true righteousness, which flows from the heart of God, for God to see, rather than putting on a show for men to see. That's what true fasting is. God spoke about this very thing through the prophet Isaiah in Isaiah 58. He rebuked the people for asking God why they'd fasted and he didn't pay attention. Why have you not noticed when we've been fasting? Isaiah exposes their hypocrisy, and he says in the day of their fasting, they were just doing what they pleased. They were exploiting their workers, they were involved in quarreling and strife, they were striking each other with wicked fists. He said you can't fast like that and expect your prayers to be heard. And he went on to say that the kind of fasting that God chooses is not to act humbly just for one day, wearing sackcloth and ashes. And he lists here what it is. So then God goes on to say what real fasting is that honors him. And you can read this in Isaiah 58, 6-10, but I'll read it out to you. Is this not the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, to let the oppressed go free, that you break every yoke? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, and that you bring to your house the poor who are cast out? When you see the naked, that you cover him, and not hide yourself from your own flesh? Then your light shall break forth like the morning, your healing shall spring forth speedily, and your righteousness shall go before you. The glory of the Lord shall be your rear guard. Then you shall call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry, and he shall say, Here I am. If you take away the yoke from your midst, the pointing of your finger and malicious speaking, if you extend your soul to the hungry and satisfy the afflicted soul, then your light shall dawn in darkness, and your darkness shall be as the noonday. So in summary, you want to mistreat people and your life doesn't reflect the love and mercy of God, you can fast all you like. He's not going to hear. That's forced fasting. If you fast for the praise and the approval of man because you want their respect and their adulation, then you can fast all you want. God's not going to hear. That's forced fasting. But if you live in a way that reflects the heart of God, you look out for others, you relieve other people's suffering, you treat people right, then when you fast in secret, your Father is going to see and he's going to reward. When you fast secretly, you go about your business normally, you don't tell everybody that you're fasting. I remember the very first time I fasted as a Christian. And the very first day I had a whole day fast. And I was so proud. I didn't know about fasting being in secret. I was telling everybody, I'm fasting today. I was like so excited that I was fasting. I felt like I'm a real Christian. I'm actually doing a fast. I told everybody like, oh no, I can't eat that today. I'm fasting today. I had no idea that it was supposed to be in secret. But God has promised what you do in secret. He has promised to hear you. He's promised to reward you openly. And he promises in this passage in Isaiah, he promises not only to hear you, but to answer you, to heal you, to protect you, to make the darkness that you go through shine like the light, like the noonday sun. This is true fasting, and this is true spiritual rewards that come from fasting. And these are amazing, wonderful promises. So this is the reward that comes from true fasting, when we don't reduce it to performance and we're not hypocrites, okay? And we walk in love and we reflect the heart of God. I hope this study has helped you, and I will see you in the next one.